Hello everyone, just a quick reminder, you can now support us on Patreon. You can get this show and all our shows a day early, and lots of other goodies by supporting us. If you like what we do, and you want to see us do more, you can find us at patreon.com/StudioOmegaYT. Thanks for your time, guys.
喜べ少年
Yes, rejoice everyone, it's time once again for Let's Talk Fate Grand Order. I am one of your hosts, Mysterious Heroine O, and with me as always is my co-host, Ultra Heroine L, and we are definitely not those two losers, Lucky and Omega. Definitely not.
No, we come for you from the far reaches of space. I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka, if it goes bump in the night, it's probably your next waifu.
Yeah, when you made that joke in the Discord originally, I was just like, there's so many ways I can make a joke about that. I just can't. There's too many.
Yeah, I know, that's why I'm like, no, this is comedy gold right here. I'm using it.
It's perfect. But yes, here we are. We're ready to
go. Yeah, so in our usual round of disclaimers, we're going to be talking about current and future events for both JP and NA, so those who want a spoiler-free experience should please show themselves out the door. Exit stage left.
Mm-hmm. And by exit stage left, just close the tab. Just get rid of it. Stop what you're doing. And ask yourself, where the fuck is Ron? The answer to that question? Now on Instagram.
Now on Instagram, yeah. Yeah, we were talking to him earlier. He was like, why aren't y'all on Instagram? This is where I share my art. I'm all like, I don't know.
That's the exact reason why I'm not on Instagram. I'm not an artist. I'm not an Instagram model.
I am an
artist. What the fuck do I have to do on Instagram? Follow all the people I follow on Twitter who tweet their stuff anyway? Like, I probably shouldn't
honestly,
be...
If I share art, I usually share it on, like, Tumblr.
I really shouldn't be too picky about it, but, like, because I definitely follow quite a few artists, and I retweet a lot of art on Twitter. But, like, why would I go to Instagram? That's like asking me, why aren't you on Facebook? I don't want to talk to everybody on Facebook. You think I want to follow my relatives on social media? That's like asking for a fight.
But enough on that. Let's get into what everyone loves.
Fate Grand Order? Yeah, so let's check in with everybody's favorite Kohai, Mesh, for a little update. As soon as I remember where that button is on my soundboard. Because as you may know, I don't use the soundboard as much as I used to.
Senpai!
That's right, it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, our regular segment for pro tips and tricks. Today's pro tip, it's a simple one, but it's very relevant right now. In case you didn't notice already, and it's possible because it is very small on your phone screen, you can see who has a max limit break craft essence in their support list if it has a little green star on it. That means that it is, in fact, max limit broken, so if you're looking for event CEs that give you extra bonuses, there you go.
I definitely keep my eye out for those purely bloom servants, because that's a hoopty bonus.
Yeah, that's a big one. So is Star of Ultria.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But with that out of the way, let's move on to Records from the Throne, our regular achievement topic.
Yep, I'll start this one off with, finally got Shisho, Skahawk, Smiles Protected. And that is news on its own, but now with this, my entire standard support line, my support line when there's not an event going on, is now all gold rarity servants at level 80, all with Smiles Protected. So I think that's an achievement to talk about. That's it.
As I just narrow my eyes. Well, hopefully in the next month or so, I'll be able to pull off something similar by virtue of the game will give me a gold assassin for free. But speaking of Smiles Protected Mordred Smile, boom, you know this if you follow me on Twitter, talking about Twitters. Thank you 200 Day Embers. I was real close to 80, and I literally cleared out every ember in the event shop, so I just needed that slight pinch more.
Yeah, so
right,
we're chugging along.
Yep.
Let's move on to Skelegram.
Yeah, a little bit of news this week, a little bit. Most of it's JP, because Saber Wars hasn't ended. We got, 5 days left?
Yeah, something like that.
6 and a couple hours? 5 and a couple hours? Well, however that works out. So it won't be done until, next week. So, whatever's coming after, which should be whatever we're doing instead of 5 million downloads, because even though we're making a lot of money, I don't think FGO has quite hit that many. I don't know, maybe we hit 3 mil. Maybe we can do that instead. But that'll be Brynhildr. So, rip everybody. Except me, because I'm smart. I don't want to be stabbed. Oh, also, my challenge of can I hold on to my quartz will come shortly after. But anyway, let's talk about news.
No, I gotta try. I have to try.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna convince myself not to try by virtue of the fact that 1, Valentine's is gonna be a rerun. It's a seasonal event basically at this point, and 2, it's Nero Bride, so she's all the fucking time. We're gonna have another one later this year for Nero Fest, at least, if not another one. So I'm just gonna be like, just hold on. You're not gonna have enough quartz anyway. You can't expect the waifus to come after 2 quartz rolls, and you have enough gold sabers already. The exact opposite of my previous problem, but I rolled like 2 in about the same number of months, and it's like, alright, hold on. Slow down. Slow your roll, me. But let's talk about some JP news. So, manga release campaign. They're making some official FGO manga. They have some fancy Type Moon ass subtitles. Y'all can go look those up on your own. But, yeah, they're in 2 segments. They're basically... I think they're, like, splitting the singularities up between 2 artists and writers, so it's not, like, a huge slow-up. But, there's a commemoration event. You get 1 quartz and 1 forbidden page, because manga. There's a commemorative scene, a quest, like always. And here's the oddball. Several servants get increased chance of super success when improving at half AP on interludes and strengthening quests, if they have them. The full list of servants is Nero, Bedivere, Drake, Castergill, Jekyll and Hyde, Nightingale, John Alter, and Mash. So that's kind of interesting that they're doing that mechanic.
So basically, it's the protagonist of all the singularities, basically.
Yeah.
Because John was Septum, Nero was,
John was Orleans,
Nero was Septum, Drake was Okeanos, Jekyll and Hyde was...
London.
Nightingale
will be America. Bedivere will be Camelot, and Castergill is Babylon.
Yeah.
And then
I guess John Alter and Mash is just in there for shiggles.
Yeah. I think it also might have to do with specifically that, like, how the mangas are covering the events. So, like, these are probably featured characters in them.
Yeah.
So, some more JP news. The New Year's banner was extended, including the paid banner, actually. This news came out later after I wrote this note, but I read that update. Due to the recent quartz buying errors, basically everybody should get what they paid for, and then everybody also gets a little extras. Like, you got, like, 10 or maybe 20 Apologems. I think it was 10, and then also they were like, and everybody who bought quartz, it'll either be waiting for you, or if it isn't, you can, like, let us know, and we'll authorize your... We'll drop it in your present box, basically.
Yeah.
This means that everybody gets more chances to roll Hokusai, Gil, Skahawk, Archer Shinjuku, Melt, Tamamo, and Musashi. And I left this note that I feel like there might be a slight saltiness to NA in the future because of this, unless they find a similar way to fuck up our servers, because, Japan's basically getting an extra week of rolling rate-ups on limited servants. So, might be a little bit, but then again, if 2 years from now things continue as they did, our banner might just be Hokusai, because she'll just be the New Year's servant. So who knows?
Who knows?
And then here's the big news coming out of Japan, and slightly relevant to future business in North America. Well, for one, because it confirms a rerun. They're rerunning Da Vinci and the 7 Counterfeit Servants. It started the 10th and will run until the 20th. I think that's like a midnight the 20th, or maybe like the when it rolls over the 20th, it stops.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the same event as previous, but now there's a very juicy raid-up featuring Jean Alter and Da Vinci. That's new. And the banner will run an extra 4 days, runs to the 24th.
And speaking of the most soon of Avengers, Jean Alter is getting an additional costume. It's her more casual outfit that she was wearing from the Shinjuku Remnant chapter.
Yeah, let me go look at the name really quick.
And this, of course, has people now screaming out Saber Alter costume change win.
costume change or the spiritual costume unlock. By the way, the official name for this is Witch of the Evil Dragon version Shinjuku 1999. So there's that. On the back end, there's been some quality of life updates. There's a UI update to a servant's NP when it is overcharged and when its effects do overcharge things. There's a new icon that appears to signify that. So now there's a little visual cue to let you know when your overcharge is actually applying. Jean and Alter have seen some slight graphical updates, not new animations, but they've cleaned up the sprites and the command card art a little, I think. I haven't actually seen anybody posting about it, so I don't know if that's... I'm pretty sure that's taken effect, just it's not enough to notice. It's probably just, bug fixing with, how the sprites place and stuff.
Okay.
Not a huge big deal. And then here's a personal comment. The Da Vinci event has a great reward list. Can't wait for that to come to NA. Fangs, plumes, bones, crystals, claws, hearts, and more.
For anyone curious, the original run was in April of 2016, so we can expect ours around there, if not a little sooner.
Yeah, it'll be after America, because some of its rewards are Ascension items that are introduced in the America chapter. But that's also a good thing, because it's like farming frickin' horseshoes in Okeanos. That's not really worth it.
No, it's not.
So, yeah. We'll probably talk a little bit more about Ascension items later. But that's all our news. Just, like I said, just a quick run through the items. Let's go ahead and switch to...
so we're going to get straight into Childhood Free Talk. Yeah, I guess I'll just start this off real quick here. Amazon Prime Video freed up a lot of anime titles, including the Kara no Kyokai, Garden of Sinners anime. And this, for us in North America, this might be a good thing, because we're quickly approaching the time of the original K&K collaboration event. Because it potentially showing up mid to late February following the Valentine's event. So if you want to get caught up with that, it'd be a good time to watch it.
Yep, it's a good time to catch on that. And like we said, there's a lot of anime titles actually freed up. I don't remember what they called it, but they had that extra video service you had to pay $5 extra on top of Prime to subscribe to that nobody did, so it didn't work out. So all their stuff is reverted to regular Prime Video. In case you're curious why these titles have opened up.
Yeah, no, I've had Amazon Prime for years, and I've used Prime Video, but if I actually have to pay again, I'm like, nah, I'm already paying for stuff. I'm done.
Yeah, no, it's hence why nobody used it. They were
yeah, but
it wasn't worth it to them.
But I'm a little concerned because that they're gonna scoop us, and right when Saber War ends, we're just gonna be no, we're going to this event right now.
And I'm nah, they need to announce whatever Brit is coming in first. That's next to the timeline anyway. And they have to do that before Valentine's, because guess what? Brit appears in it. And it's theoretically possible to... in the code anyway, it's possible to buy her chocolate CE. So, timing-wise, I think they need to get it out of the way so they don't have to do lots of dumb programming editing that I think nobody wants to do. That, I think, is the real reason why a lot of our events are still on schedule, is because nobody wants to go in and have to, unfuck any menus that have any sort of, this servant appears, that servant appears, stuff like that. Be a big pain. So, hey, we joked about Ascension materials earlier, and I looked it up. I looked up our future Ascension materials list for a joke, which maybe what I ended up thinking about that will come up in a bonus stage recording. But, yeah, like I said, I looked them up, and, man, if you thought they were gross now...
No, man. Back when North America was finally changing over to the new dailies for the training fields, I actually looked up all the new issues and items and potential drop potential, and let me just say, iceberg tip.
Yeah,
it's it gets crazy. I can't even remember some of them, but just as the more enemy types that come out, the more drops. Just imagine, for every new enemy type, there's going to be a new drop.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. And some enemies are going to start dropping new things.
Well, like black tallow or spinal fluid.
Let me see.
Any other
I can't remember any
things.
off the top of my... I can only think of the pictures. I can't think of the names. But there's going to be, like, shells. There's going to be pots of oil. There's going to be gems. There's going to be...
Yeah, the pots of oil is black tallow.
Yeah, but...
Which, if anyone understands what tallow is. But, yeah, I think that's most of our free talk. Let's, we're only about 15 minutes in, so it's time to jump into our Saber Wars ongoing talk, which will fill up some of the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, so prepare for some tangenting here.
Probably, but this is one of our hopefully famous and not infamous moments where we just put a block, the equivalent of a bullet point, but not actually bullet pointing it because it's a whole topic of just we're going to talk about Saber Wars here.
No, like actually in the show notes, I put in like in this is like dedicated space for Saber Wars tangenting.
Yeah. So here we are.
It's there.
We're unscripted once again. And we have some thoughts about Saber Wars, so
I'm going to start off these thoughts. So when I went into this, I was looking at 2 million, and I'm like, oh, we made 1.5 million during Honoji. It's like, yeah, that'd be fine. I can do that. Just got to, buckle down a little bit more. And here we are, like already a week into it. I think I barely have made I've made 600. I'm over 600K because I got my 3rd star of Altria. And I'm like, I cannot do this.
Yeah, there's a lovely math formula on the subreddit. You guys should go look it up. But I crunched that number. Now, obviously, that was earlier today before I did some stuff. But accounting for, like, all the extra daily challenge quests and all that stuff, based on my current rate, I would need to run the UHZ node for points 82 more times to get 2 million. That's a lot of times.
That is a lot of times.
I'm
Let's say if you figure
I'm at
you
like
get,
six. I want to say 640 right now. Just now because
I'm doing the daily right now, so I'll tell you my total as soon as I get done fighting Dr. Evil here.
Yeah, you didn't do the daily yet, did you?
Yeah, nah, I'm doing it right now.
Back. I can also check what my actual total is since we're just killing time on the mics. But, yeah,
so
it's rough. It's grindy.
It's rough, but and that got me, of course, thinking. It's like, do I really need that extra crystallized lore? Because I think we've already got 2 from this event because we got 1 from completing all the missions. So if you got up to level 9, you got 9. I think you get another one from completing all the dailies. That's 2. Usually that's what like events cap out as usually just 1 or 2 crystallized lore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't really need 3.
Don't think I need that one.
Yeah, I don't need it either. I think I have like 11 or 12 already just sitting in my back pocket because unfortunately skills right now are not my ultimate concern.
Yeah, skills are important, but they're just they also guess what? They also cost mats, so it's a very slow climb for me. Because you've got to do a lot of grinding when I personally really just want to grind levels for stats and even unlocking those skills. But I just looked it up, so I am at 638,410, so about 640, like I said. Because I am getting...
slaying Dr. Evil here.
Like 11,000. Almost 12,000 Ultrium each level up. Got some thoughts on Saber Wars design. I'm not going to be too dissatisfied because it gave me all the tools I needed to max Ascension Mordred. I still have leftovers, so I'm going to have lots of stuff. I have plenty of apples, even though I have used a couple of varying levels. I've gotten most of them back. I've got a max limit broken Purely Bloom, and I've got a spare copy of Purely Bloom, and I still haven't bought the Transistor one from the shop, so... Excuse me. There's not a lot to complain about there. Like I said, I cleaned out all the EXPs. If I wanted, I could probably go back in for more, what are the big items in there? Plumes, probably. I don't have a super lot of those. I've got quite a few reverse scales, considering you don't ever need too many of those at once. So, it's hard to be disappointed with the event, but at the same time, it's like, at this point, I'm just like, I want to break, like, 1 mil and make sure I get all my copies of Saber Lily so I can have her in MP5, and I'd like to push it to whatever the highest for MLB Star of Ultra is, just so I can say I've done it, because there's not going to be a rerun, as far as I know. At this stage, there's not a rerun. Yeah. So it's a not super harsh, but also it's a harsh event. And personally, I gotta say, I've looked at it. I think the reason why, one, it's bad for me, and why I think it's not a great design is just how the bonuses shake out. Like, it's not like, oh, use these, cruddy servants nobody ever uses, like, use these 3 stars nobody talks about. Because, well, yes, obviously, Saber Gills is completely useless, but, he doesn't matter. There's no point in taking him. Like, if you own even a small slice of the number of sabers that are in this event, you're better off not.
That's the thing is, because you only have, like, no matter how many servants are getting the bonus, you only have so many you can take with you at one time.
You've got 5 slots. So if you have, like, any gold sabers, and of course, if you've been playing since day 1-ish, you have a Lily already, and then you get her from the event, so she's an obvious in there. And then, all the gold sabers count, and then the silver sabers count. So basically, literally every saber that's in the game right now counts, so you will probably hit your limit. The problem is which sabers count. So you guys know this already, but spoiler alert, I don't have Nero or Saber Alter. So they're the next tier down of bonuses. What I do have are 2 gold SSR sabers. I have Mordred and Altera. They're not worth as many points. So, which
I find really weird that they.
I don't like thinking about it. I have decided I do not like that. That does not sit well with me. The idea that these servants of higher rarity who are harder to get, and in the case of Altera, I paid money to get because she was my paid gacha pull. That that they don't do more in this event, whereas Nero kind of makes sense because she's in the event, but Saber Alter's not in the event at all. She's just been tacked onto the banner, so there's another SR. And they're both story locks, which makes them harder to roll. It's like, guys, what are you doing? If you want me to roll on the banner, you don't need to do that. There's already the craft essences and the limited MHX in there. Like, so I feel like maybe somebody had a brain freeze and didn't think this through in terms of like player enjoyment. Like they clearly want you to roll on the banner, but you already want to roll on the banner if you want to roll at all. Like, there's no reason to, like, extra incentivize it for mechanical purposes. You know what I'm saying? The limited servant who's at the top of the list already is in the banner. I feel like I would enjoy it more if I was rewarded more in terms of, like, point drops. And the second thing that's the problem with this is that at least the most efficient use of points is a giant assassin boss. And boy howdy. I mean,
so this is where I'm gonna like steal the mic
jump in
here
before
for a second.
I get into my current edition of Stall Strats.
Yeah. So right now I have completely just started basically ignoring fighting the final boss, Ultra Heroine Z. Reason being is because for as much effort as it takes me to beat her, the points that I get from it is not worth it. Right now I form a Skahawk Savage Lady, and on average I'm getting about between like 8,000 to like 8 to like 10,000 points. I go and hit up Ultra Heroine Z, I'm only getting like 12,000 to 12 to 15,000. Now, while that is improvement, it takes me significantly, and I mean significantly longer to beat that final boss. On average, I beat Skahawk in about 8 to 10 turns. Last time I tried being UHZ, there we go. It took me 30 turns, almost 3 times as long.
So, and if you want evidence of how this works, because before I got clued into some pro tips by one of our users, I also had this problem. I literally have a video, it came out a while ago on the channel. It's 40 minutes long. It is just me running the UHZ node once. when I started the video, I was planning on maybe recording it until I ran out of AP. Like I said, I did it once, and it took me 40 minutes. Yeah, here it is. Let's Play FGO Saber Wars Farming. That came out... when? Like on Wednesday this week, I think. Hold on, let me get a pen. I will write down the time code we're at, so I can put a card in. So everybody who's watching this video, you should see it down below, just about now. That'll link you to that video, and you can listen and watch me stall strat. It's literally called Saber Wars Farming or Stall Team.
Yeah, basically, because that's my strat right now, because unfortunately, being an assassin, there's only two things that can really go up against her. One, casters. Unfortunately, casters kind of hit like magical wet noodles, as Omega put it once.
Yeah.
And two, berserkers, who hit like freight trains, but can also be smacked down in an instant with one good crit.
Also, Ed, we should point out that you're fighting Ultra Heroine Z, who is basically a enemy clone of, Mysterious Heroine X. So, she likes to spam her up crit rate. Because guess what? Intuition isn't a shitty skill for enemies.
Nope.
I have seen her stack as many as, 2 or 3 in a row.
Yeah, good luck with that. So, unfortunately for us over here, one of the best things we can do is a caster stall team. Like me, I've been running John Tamamo, John Waver and a support Tamamo. And Omega, what you're running? Weren't you running a Medea?
Yeah,
John
so my current, it's not quite stall. It's definitely tanky, but it's not necessarily stall because, hey, here's a spoiler alert. Put your max limit break purely bloom on Medea so that her attack is up and her noble phantasm strength is constantly going up, and start throwing rule breakers. You will start doing about 100k and top out somewhere doing 200k every couple of turns. This turns it from a stall to a clincher. That is about your best bet in the game right now. Keep in mind, I do this with my own Jean at level 90, and then a support Tamamo at max level also. So, that is the build I have to make so that when I get to Ultra Heroine Z, I can live. The first 2 waves, nonsense. I've got a level 75 Lily, I've got a level 80 Mordred, juiced up by people in the back row with, multiple stars of Artoria and stuff like that. And it's, dragon? What dragon?
It's rough. I honestly
give him a couple
think
noble
that
phantasms, you can chip him out.
The amount of points you get for dealing with all that bullshit is not worth it. No, it's not. I really don't think it is.
I'm doing it just because I don't... because even if I add, Altera back in, or... because I will say my other problem is my last slot has to be mashed because I don't have any master points left. I have no cost left to put anybody in there. I can't even put a silver saber. So I made a 0.7 modifier.
Yeah. And on top of that, another skill that Z likes to spam is that skill that gives her strength up against Saber and crits up against Saber faces. Is it Saber or Saber faces? I forget.
It's Sabers in general.
Yeah.
Mysterious Heroine X, her skill kit is an assassin who wants to fight sabers, which is really weird. It's why she's very niche. She's not thought of as super strong, but guess what, guys? You're running sabers. She already crits a lot. She can up her damage and crits versus sabers. And then, guess what? She has an anti-saber face Noble Phantasm, which is a single target multi-hit. It's bad. It's a real bad news.
Yeah, so you're already boned because you have to swap out some of your points just so you can survive, because otherwise she's gonna go up on there and wreck them. It's then you do that, so you lost points, you're losing power, because I said the Saber Faces have the increased strength, but when your opponent has 1 million hit points, it's that increased strength kind of amounts to nil, considering how much she can, how hard she can hit your sabers. So it's I'm fine with just going to...
I've talked about, like I said, I start with Lily, Mordred, and support Tamamo in my front row. By the time I get to UHZ, I still have all 3 of those. I usually even have Mordred is on her second cleric because she self-charges and then also secretive pedigree charges, and if their HP gets a little low, I'll have Tamamo pop an Eightfold Blessing so she can heal everybody up a little bit and get their NP building. 1 or 2 turns of being in the same room as UHZ, both my sabers are dead. They're gone. They're toast. Just crit. He just does arts or quick, does a couple crits, everybody's gone. Everybody's toast. Like, I can't even... Most of the time, I can't even get them to live long enough to bait a Noble Phantasm. I will say, though, Mash has come through for me a couple times when her third skill we haven't mentioned, which is also very annoying, Fire Support, has caught me out in the cold at the wrong time. And she's, killed somebody with her Noble Phantasm. Mash will come in as the final defender. Guys, if you don't already know this trick, you need to know it. Her target focus up, and then her invulnerability skill. Do both of those to Mash, she will tank a whole turn. She will just soak up a turn. Because as far as I think enemies can avoid target focus up, but they almost never do. So Mash will totally eat a turn of damage.
Yeah. I'm lucky I have the on because they can do it too, because they have
taunting.
A beautiful appearance and then an evade skill. I think they have Mind's
Taunting's
Eye,
great.
so it's...
Trust me,
you when you're
taunting is a very powerful tool in this game.
It really is.
I've talked about before how for a long time Guda Guda Poster Girl was my go-to CE for farming on Jean, because that just means that for 3 turns Jean just sucks up that damage, just soaks it all up, and it does nothing to her. Later when we do Journey to the West and then Camelot, Zhang she's a caster with a single target Buster Noble Phantasm, I believe. Yeah, it's single target. Because I've seen my FGO cross JoJo memes videos. But she also has a taunting skill, which is very interesting. I hope I have Quartz when Journey to the West comes out. Not that it's super necessary, because I don't think she ends up being limited. It's just that's a good time to roll her. Because we've talked about this. Buster, the number of servants with single target Buster Noble Phantasms who are casters is like 3. One of whom is a limited, the other one is another SSR, and the third one is luckily not story locked SR. That's Kirki. She has a single target Buster, but so like we said, the kit to solve assassin problems is not really good right now.
No, it's not.
You're better finding an SSR Berserker or a really good SR Berserker like Herc, and just do whatever you need to do to soak up that damage. One of our Discord members, Burn Castell, they actually told us, you want the best single target caster to fight assassins? Kualter. Because he has protection from arrows, so he gets evade. Which is, as we've talked about, anything that prolongs the life of a Berserker is great.
Yeah.
Because most of those guys are paper.
Yeah. Let's see. But, other than, that utter bullshit that is, UHZ, it's like, Saber Wars has been pretty fun. As I said, I keep going back to it.
No, I do it. I've got it down to a science.
Yeah.
And I got most of what I want from the event. I guess it's just at least until I get the goals I want, I get my final copies of Saber Lily, and I hopefully get my CEs. I don't quite feel comfortable just putting it down, because there's still stuff I want from it, but I got most of what I wanted out of it already. Other than, like we said, other than the ratio of, risk-reward on the last free quest, everything else is pretty entertaining and useful.
Well, I want to get into this a little bit. The last 3 nodes before the final boss, where you basically fight Jean, Tesla, and Scott Hawk, they're great for event farming. And once you get your rhythm of them, they're really easy to do. And they drop enough.
I was farming transistors
items
for a long time to get those EXP. Like I said, you build your system, it's good. And in fact, I think not to double back too hard, but I think if you want to get to the heart of it, that's what's really wrong with the UHZ node, is you can't build rhythm. Because it's Lancers, assassin. Assassin with 100 million HP and single target noble phantasm and all this other shit she can do. Like, it's a huge change of tempo that comes at the final moment, and it's real sucky.
Well, it's not that just because, like, yeah, the first note is the 3 homunculi, which are Lancers, and then you have Giant Space Dragon, which means everyone's taking damage. No matter what you do, everyone is taking damage.
Yeah, but at the same time, those like multi-hit area attack guys really build your NP also.
Yeah.
But
as I said, so
if it was just Lancers, though, like for example, if it was a 2-stage node, like some of the bonus quests are, the daily ones, because there are a couple that are just like 2 stages, you'd be fine. Because you just put all Sabers up there, they soak up most of the damage, it charges their NP like crazy, you put a couple, high-level servant buster NPs in him. Like if I could bring Altera, I would Photon Ray Caliber and Clarent, and he'd be done. 400k HP is nothing, which is the scary thing about Saber Wars. And then you get to UHZ, and you're like, shit, I've got 1 million of this to go through, and my previous set of tools doesn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I was, before that, farming St. France pretty reliably, because that you can totally build a kit for. You just need you put a Berserker in the back row, you wait until one of your Sabers folds in the final fight, and then you bully Jean. Which is okay, because she is a bully back.
I'm going to get into this a little bit later. Well, actually, I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to bring this in now, just because we're mentioning it.
But our meme of the week.
Our meme of the week is stop servant bullying. Parents, talk to your children. Now, I say this because I had to share this on both Discord and Twitter. Like, this is how much it affected me. I actually, dusted off my Twitter account to post this. It's an image of Tamamo Cat, Saber Alter, and Okita. Tamamo Cat and Okita are at full health. Saber Alter is at 1,077. And I was on the second, I think I was on the second wave.
Yeah,
you're
at battle 2 of 3 versus Star Demon and Helter Skelter. I'm looking at it right now. I was just like, did I retweet this?
And both, as I said, Tamamog and Okita full health. Saber Alter about to go down. For those,
Okita looks like she got hit once.
Who?
Okita looks like she got hit once.
Maybe
but
once.
But no, seriously, guys, you need to go look at the image. I'm not going to edit it in because it's just go look it up on Twitter and but no, there's a stark contrast between 12 and 13k HP and 1k HP.
And no, here's the difference. That's after I popped Cure All. It was down to 77 health.
Oh, I should also say, that's another thing that I stopped doing. I stopped using new Mystic Codes. I went back to my old standby evasion single target heal for 3k HP is how I fight UHZ, because, oh my god, that's, Spiriton Transfer, godlike. Cure All's okay, but Spiriton Transfer and sometimes the Command Shuffle, those are great. But, Jesus Christ, I've missed having a single target evade, yeah. There are so many times when I'm like, well, Curse is down, and Jean is not going to get her NP, and, Divine Judgment didn't proc. So, alright, Tamamo, Morph, Medea, Evade, Jean, if she decides to hit you, just soak it up. And we pray. And usually, UHZ is dumb enough to target Medea, who has Evade.
That is something I am grateful for, is that whatever their hit algorithms seem to be pretty random.
Yeah, the AI is luckily sometimes dumb.
Yeah.
The thing that makes them hard is that it's a little bit the RNG, but it is also that they just get more than you ever can. Like the ability to constantly spam skill. I'm looking at you, Fire Support.
Yeah, but it was just that shocking. I had to put the game down for a moment. Because of course, next turn after that, Alter went down, and I'm just like, well, there goes my cannon.
Yeah, there goes your hitter.
Because Saber
why-
Alter on my team, she's the only one that has Purely Bloom left. She has the MLB Purely Bloom. Everyone else on my team, except for Mash, because Mash is the final line of defense. She only uses Journey's Beginning or the beginning of a journey, just because it's so low cost. I can't afford it. But everyone else in my team has Star of Alteras. So Saber Alter is my heavy hitter. Aside from support, which I try to get Okita's. I try. Oh god.
Well, yeah, if you're running the Skahak node, Okita is single target saber.
Yeah.
See, this is why Mortar's really good, because her third skill is a huge one-turn def buff. That's your emergency button. Low on HP, alright. Defense, clear debuff, charge NP. Hopefully, if we last one more round, you can pop an NP and then it'll just be done. Just go away. Just get away from me. Get thee away from me. And then, of course, if you're doing the Tesla node, Skahawk's unsupported your best bet. Purely Bloom Skahawk will be terrifying. I've seen people posting, in our Discord, people have posted, huge damage numbers because of the percentage ups for some NPs. Like, I've got people, hitting Skahawk as a boss with Okita for 1 million damage, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm
people
like, God, if only these toolkit existed for casters. It's so funny how out of step that whole thing turns out to be. It's so alien to the rest of the event.
It really is. Well,
maybe it's a daily challenge quest, but yeah, it's rough.
Well, as I said, I'm not going to worry about actually getting the points. I want to hit 1.5 million because I believe that's the last star of
it's the last star
of Altria. But after that, I'm not even going to actually focus on it. I'm just. I
think by that point you've got most of the mana prisms and all of the Saint Quartz, so it's just a couple extra hearts, claws, maybe scales, maybe a little bit of prisms left, and also apples. And you're like, shit, I don't need this. I need this in my life.
But, yeah, I'm just going to focus on clearing out the, I'm not going to clear it out because there's some things I'm like, I don't need. But I'm going to work on the events. I've heard that luckily
we're going to get a bit of a reprieve, that Valentine's is not too hard, and design-wise, the Kairo no Kyokai event is supposed to be one of the best they've made in terms of, game design. So, that's good.
Yeah, trust me, my blood's already starting to boil a little bit for Valentine's. I'm about to drop $80 for the biggest court package because one day in that event, both Nero Bride and Tamamo are gonna be on Raid Up, and I'm gonna throw money at it, and I'm hoping to get both because I need to shove that in Omega's face. Bad, I need to do it.
But will that get you Atalanta? I still gotta try, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta try. Otherwise, there's nothing but salt left. All right, so that was our big, Billy Big rant on Saber Wars. That worked out pretty good, I think. We're at about 40 minutes on the mission clock. I think that is a good time then to transition to our next topic. We've been talking a little bit about doing this, but I think it's a good time to do this. Let's put on our exposition glasses and let's talk about skills. Specifically passive skills today. It was a couple episodes back where we talked about not being able to remember the difference between, say, writing and I think it was independent action. We were like, which one of those does what now? So I figure we can have a little bit of a conversation, talk about the common passive skills, because some servants have unique passive skills and stuff like that. We don't need to necessarily get into that too deep, but I figure we would talk about what the common passive skills are and just discuss them, make sure everybody knows which ones they are, and, clear it up for ourselves and for our listeners. How does that sound, Lucky? Lucky's busy cleaning up the show notes. Anyway. Let's see, where was I?
So, I said, skills are big, they're varied, and they come in all sorts of ranks. Going from, what's the lowest, E minus? Has it been
well, yeah, so basically it's your letter grade scale, but there's no F, there's an E. It's pretty standard Japanese stuff, and instead of an S rank, there's EX rank, which is supposed to be extraordinary, it's unquantifiably high. and
or it's like really unique or niche. Special,
it's something that's
special conditions.
that is either so strong or so unique and unexpected that it cannot be put on a mathematical scale versus other ones. So for skills, this usually means the EX is stronger than the others. For Noble Phantasms, it gets weirder. But yeah, and then there's also a plus or minus scale. So I've only ever seen a single minus, but pluses can go up to like 2 pluses. For extra plus because we don't want to say EX, we want to say it's really good. So that's your skills, and we're just talking about what are normally called by the community passive skills, but are usually called like class skills, because that's what they originally started out as in like the original visual novel and other materials. Is these were common skills that were applied because of the class container. But some servants obviously have it; they're out of class. I think I'm just going to go look down the list and like talk about the common ones in alphabetical order. So our first one then, that's the most common one, which is very important to a lot of people, is Divinity. Divinity is the skill that measures how close to a divine spirit a servant is, and in general how godly they are. In the game, it translates to a straight damage buff. At its lowest, Divinity E- is all your damage just gets plus 175 for free. And at its highest, Divinity A++, which I think is only Tamamo Lancer, is plus 230. There's no Divinity EX. So it's just flat damage buff.
You're either a god or you're not.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's why there's no Divinity EX. Listen, if you're an actual divine spirit, you can't be a servant, so... there's also a variant on this, which I believe is Core of the Goddess. That's like for like Stheno and Eurale and also Ishtar and Ereshkigal. Probably even Orion. Goddesses who are actually goddesses, they get like a special variant on the skill which ups their damage and also increases their debuff resist. But it's basically the same sort of thing, has even the same icon. The next skill alphabetically is Independent Action. So fluff-wise, this skill indicates how long a servant can act without a master. High levels you can go for days, even weeks, without needing a master to supply you mana, and on some level they can act far away from their master. The mechanical this does...
I always find it hilarious because the first two examples of this are, Emiya and Gil, and when I hear about independent action from them, I don't think of it as them acting away, I think of it as them just doing whatever the hell they want because they can.
Well, that is kind of how it works out for them. But yeah, this is a class skill that's usually associated with archers. There are a couple, like Medusa, for instance, has Independent Action C. So you occasionally see it on riders. But like I said, the actual mechanical thing it does is it increases your critical strength. At the lowest is currently C, that's 6%, and then the highest is EX, which is 12%. And A plus is 11%, so much for unquantifiable difference. But yeah, so independent action, if you see that, that's critical strength. That means when you do crits, they do that much extra damage. Next is item construction, which is kind of weird because it's a class skill for casters, but what it does in-game is it increases your debuff success rate. So basically, your debuffs do slightly better. But it's applied sometimes to casters even though they don't have debuffs. Medea, for instance, has item construction at like D or C, I think. Or maybe even B, because she's supposed to be really good. Because, guess what?
But
historically in FSN, she has a high item creation. But
yeah, I think that's why they have it, is because it's a canon. Yeah,
it's a thing she has. I think that they trim that out sometimes for later casters who don't have any use for it, who are OG to FGO. But yeah, it's just your debuff success rate. The lowest is, I think, 4 for D. D is the lowest we've seen so far, and A is plus 10%, and then EX is plus 12%. Then here's a big one: Madness Enhancement. This is commonly seen on Berserkers. It's their class skill typically, but it shows up some other places. Yeah, Saber Gills has Madness Enhancement EX still, even though it's still Saber. Yeah, I believe so. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, I thought those. Oh, so I guess it's. I guess this is Gills right before he goes mad.
Well, the thing to remember about
he doesn't even know it.
The lovely thing about Madness Enhancement is that At EX, it means that your madness is like so unique to you that you seem perfectly functional to everyone else. And yes, I just checked. He does in fact have Madness Enhancement EX, 12% on his Buster cards, which is not useful. Wow. He only has 2 Busters, which are damage 1. But when he gets a Strengthening quest that ups his Buster card performance, like long term, it's even a little better. It still doesn't make Saber deals good.
Oh, I guess if you want a good example of it, go watch Fate Apocrypha. I guess now that I think about it, the scenes where his scene makes more sense. Then yeah.
Yeah, basically, like characters with the Madness Enhancement EX are perfectly functional until you trigger them, until you set them off. Then they're like, whoa. Kyo is another example of Madness Enhancement EX. She literally perceives you as her beloved Anshin-sama, and cannot not perceive you that way. But lower levels are mostly functional. Madness Enhancement is the lowest level is E-, that's 1% on Buster Effectiveness. EX is 12%. So it's a good spread, it's a solid skill to look out for. It's important to Berserkers, obviously, because you use those to hurt things, so it ups their Buster performance. Next is Magic Resistance, which is in Fluff is a really important skill because it lets you just ignore Magecraft under certain ranks. Like, you know, at like B or A servant completely ignores anything a modern magus can do. In-game, it's just debuff resist. So it doesn't actually do anything about casters or magical attacks or anything. It's just debuff Excuse me. But, sorry about that coughing. But basically what it does is it ups your debuff resist, and it ups it pretty good. The lowest is E, and that's 10%, and then EX is 25%. Magic Resistance is not a specific class skill, but it's applied a lot to the knightly classes and also riders. So you see it around a fairly decent amount. Is one of the things that makes those servants pretty good usually, is because debuff resistance is great. Presence Concealment is the assassin class skill. This increases your critical star drop rate, which is the important part, and it distinguishes it from independent action and even writing. The highest, it looks like, is A, that's 10% crit star drop rate up, and then E is just 2%. But yes, some characters are summoned as assassins even though they have a presence concealment of E or D. I believe that's Carmilla is presence
Jekyll?
Concealment D. Jekyll also...
Don't Jekyll and Hive have like a really...
Probably. Jekyll's also weird because he has skills that are only active at certain times. Like, he has Madness Enhancement, but it only turns on when you use his NP to flip the switch to Dangerous Game. But yeah, Jekyll's actually really fun. I'm sad that I can't use him so much in this event. I was using him a lot for farming before Saber Wars. I really like him. It turns out. I was like, I need a new Silver Assassin because Jinki's alright. It's just, she doesn't mesh well with my usual playstyle. Guess what? Jekyll does. And then when you flip to hide, it's even better. Because you heal, you get more HP, and your busters are even stronger. But yeah, Presence Concealment's kind of... That's a pretty critical element to Assassins. The fact that Assassins get this is why people use them a lot for Star Gen. I think Jack must have a pretty high level of this, for instance. Then the next one is Riding. In lore, again, riding is the skill that's related to your ability to ride mounts of any kind, control mundane vehicles, control mundane animals. At higher levels, you can even, like, ride phantasmal species and divine beasts. You can't ride a dragon unless you have some other kind of special quality that lets you ride a dragon. For instance, Jeanne Alter can ride dragons because she has a unique personal skill called Dragon Witch, so she commands dragons, and thus her riding skill allows her to ride dragons. But riding in-game increases your quick card effectiveness, much like Madness Enhancement does for Busters. Riding is obviously the core skill for a Rider class servant, much like Madness Enhancement is core for a Berserker, but riding tends to be even more spread out than Madness Enhancement. You see it a lot on Sabers, Lancers, and sometimes even Archers, because obviously they know how to ride, and this gives them better quick cards. At its highest, riding EX, you're looking at 12% quick effectiveness, and then at your lowest at E is 2%. And yes, everybody knows the joke, but it's confirmed, at least in FGO, by Maeve. Riding does also refer to sex. And Truncated Silence will catch all that, but I feel like Lucky should have made a joke there.
Unfortunately, I don't got one.
All right. Then that was just an awkward silence that the audience won't hear. Thank you, truncated silence. I think, this is our last one that's a normal one. Because there are a couple which are skills for, like, some of the later extra classes, but we're not going to get into that because it doesn't matter yet. But the last one alphabetically here is Territory Creation. This increases your arts card, so it's just like writing and madness enhancement. Territory Creation is usually a skill for casters, but it's something you also see every once in a while. Liz, for example, has a decent Territory Creation. So that increases your arts cards. Like, we didn't talk about what item creation does, like, in lore, because I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, it's definitely creating magic items and the like. Territory creation is like...
the best example of that is in Carnival Phantasm when Medea gives her master the charm.
Which is a thing she can't explicitly do, even outside of jokey contexts. And Paracelsus has item creation EX because he can create a Philosopher's Stone. Stuff like that. But territory creation is creating terrain or areas advantageous to being a magus. So normally at higher ranks you can create a workshop, which is basically you have a space to work and do magic stuff, like do rituals or do your item creation or just have a place to sit and passively gather mana up so you can do spells and stuff. At high levels you can create
example. This is what she did to the Ryodo temple.
Yeah.
And she basically marked that as her territory.
Also relevant because Apocrypha just finished. Canonically, Semiramis has Territory Creation EX. At higher levels, you can create a temple, which is better than a workshop. They don't really explain why, but it is. Medea has that rank. And at EX rank, specifically, it says that Semiramis can prepare materials to gather them to make her flying garden. So that's why her Territory Creation is so high. Which also means she'll probably be a decent arts-focused assassin, oddly enough. Probably. We don't know yet. Semiramis when? If only so I can once again use that shitpost image I made asking people to bring me videos of Mordred bullying Semiramis. This is why you should follow us on Twitter.
I'm going to watch the last 4 episodes of Apocrypha again. I'm just going to skip the rest. I'm just going straight to the last 4.
Well, at some point we really should do our 100 subscriber thing and watch the first one again. And record our comments on that. But we'll get to that. Nobody's called us out on not doing it yet. It's all us. So I think so long as we're self-effacing, it's cool. We'll get to it when we have time. We didn't forget. But yeah, so territory creation is a really important one, especially because remember that effectiveness is not just the damage those cards do, though for Buster, obviously, that's all Buster cards do. But for quick cards, quick effectiveness means more crit stars generated, and for arts effectiveness, it means more NP gain. So even if your servant has, like, average-ish, like, inherent NP gain, a decent territory creation will mean they have pretty good NP gain. At its highest, at EX, you're at 12%, obviously, and then I think, is there an E? There's not an E, but that would be like 2%. There's a D, which is like 4%. So you got a decent amount of swing there. And like I said, there's actually quite a few passive skills. Some of them have even been unique to special servants, and then like Avengers actually get a lot of unique stuff. A lot of like class skills that we'll talk about, and set of foreigners. But that's all something we can talk about later once those classes are actually out. So we can scratch that off our list of things to talk about. Don't worry. Speaking of things we haven't forgotten, someday when we also don't have much to talk about, I will prattle on for 15 minutes about what is a noble phantasm anyway.
That is a can of worms.
That's a very weird topic to get into. Like, if you just... Because I probably will on air, like, just read the first line of, like, the Type Moon Wiki about what a noble phantasm is. Like, it's weird and esoteric. It's not just a shiny sword, what done was legendary. Though it's funny, the official translation into English is noble phantasm with, like, the special characters. The way it's written in Japanese is just, like, treasure. So if you, by the way, if you run, like, Google Translates on Japanese pages, you will see treasure referred to a lot. That's all NP stuff. But it's just funny how that works out.
Yeah.
And that's that. So now we're at over an hour. We've rounded out our showtime.
Perfect.
I talked a lot. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did. Well, you talk more, as usual.
Yeah. Well, I knew that going in. I knew I was going to talk a lot. I tried to leave you pause for comments, but there's only so much a man can do.
All right. Sometimes my brain kind of goes blank. It does that. But, God. Sorry, headbutted my mic.
You're trying not to do that.
One last note here. Merch future. Eventually, I plan on at least trying to go to, things like cons and events and whatnot. And one of those staples of cons is you always see people, sporting the lanyards, keychains, and buttons. And I think it'd be really cool one day if that we, put a little bit of fun, get a little bit of funding together and, come out with some Studio Omega lanyards and keychains. Mm-hmm. Something low key, but something that you still show that still shows your support.
Yeah, something that people can pick up at a con, or we can give out at business interactions.
Mm-hmm.
That sort
or
of
just
thing.
give away for who knows.
Yeah, that would be neat. Phone charms are also a good thing. Because guess what? We Let's Talk FGO anyway is entirely based around something that's based on a phone or tablet-like device. So, we know anybody listening to us for that anyway has a phone.
Yeah.
Because emulators don't work anymore. But yeah, that's a good point.
Right,
and obviously we've talked about it. App. That's the easiest place to start, but we want to expand more.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of expanding more, as we come to the end of our show, it's time for our usual speech.
Next time on Let's Talk Fate Grand Order. Honestly, we're probably gonna start thinking about maybe Brunhilde event. Thinking about Valentine's, that's coming up in less than a month, and you might want to start thinking about that, and maybe the Kara no Kyokai event. As I said,
we might do some high level stuff on those. We still got a couple of weeks left in January, so Bryn will probably be in there somewhere to wrap out the month.
Yep. So with Saber Wars ending next week, we're expecting probably getting some news on whatever is coming up very soon after that. So Omega might have to do a quick 5-minute special, letting people know.
If news comes out on a Wednesday that Brunhilde Gotcha is gonna drop before our show comes out, I will definitely have to do something, because we usually record on a Friday. In case you guys don't, and you can listen to it on a Friday if you're a Patreon patron at the right levels. Because the audio version, I do the post production on the audio. I export it. I immediately throw that up on Patreon. The video comes after because it has a process. But if you really want to get our show right away as soon as it's literally done, you can. And also, you could choose to listen to it live as a different reward. But I already put the bumper at the front, so there's no need to worry about further Patreon shillings. We're just gonna round up the YouTube video in our usual way. If you like this video, please give it a like. That really helps us out. And also, we just love to see those like numbers. Even if people don't say anything in the comments down below, seeing a handful of likes on our latest videos always lets us know people are actually listening and enjoying. But if you have any comments about anything we've said today, anything at all, you have your future topic ideas and whatnot, go ahead and leave those in the comment section down below, or join our community Discord. Ever since we started it, we refer to the Discord constantly because, well, it's full of people who know more than we do and help us out with their knowledge, and also really shitpost constantly.
A lot of shitposting.
But the good kind.
It's great. We have Burn Senpai, who's always got the pro tips and strats, along with Jubei Force. And then we have Galley, who is on top of his meme game at all times.
Yes, constantly 10,000 hours in MS Paint.
Yep.
We have a couple other people. We have lots of people who just read and don't post, so you can too. You can read all of our excellent, high-quality posting without having to actually say anything. And of course, if you are new to the channel and you have not done so already, please subscribe. It is the best way to get all our future video content by subscribing. And obviously, as we hit subscriber milestones, we will eventually do something special about it. But that has been our show. I'm glad to have you all here.
Me too. I hope to see you around next time.
And I hope everybody is having a fun Saber Wars.
The battle for Valentine's chocolate begins now.